Hi, welcome to the bet. I sound like I've got a lot of energy. I'm in a fake it till you make it kind of situation. Actually, I'm sitting in my car. You're getting another car episode because literally I've spent the last, I don't know, 6 or 7 days, at least 6 days, just nose down, churning out either content from my business or content for my job, the university. I'm getting ready. We start a new quarter next week. It's a new academic year as well. So I've got new graduate students starting their master's programs, and I teach one of the very first classes they take on mindset and clinical identity and resilience and all the woo-woo stuff that I actually deliver through the guise of science. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's very rewarding, but it's a lot of work. So getting all of those lectures prepped, and there's a huge shift in scheduling, and I had to make a bunch of changes to the syllabus, all of those little not so fun parts. And then I'm also I'm doing 2 presentations at our state association conference later this fall, but they need a full workup by next Monday. So I'm working on that. And then I've really been holding myself accountable. I guess I don't love that word, but holding myself to the expectation, how about that I will be producing content on Instagram every day. So I was thinking about just skipping this week of the bet, quite honestly, because it's really not a deliverable that I really owe to anybody. There's nobody sitting out there going, she owes me this episode. So it's something I could easily punt. Or I thought maybe I'll just do it a couple days late this week when I've really had time to sit down and think about it. And almost immediately, after I had that thought, that was 20 minutes ago, I was like, nope, you're going to take action. You're going to do it now. Sit in the car. If you hear the air conditioning going, it's because it's 113 right now where I live. So we can't really sit in the car without some climate control going down. But I think just in general, when you're feeling resistance to doing things, at least this is true for me, I believe that even if it's not my best episode ever, it's not the best work I could put out, even if I could maybe do a better quote unquote job 2 days from now, when I've sat down and planned it out more or thought about it, or make sure I've collected all my thoughts for the week, even if that were going to be better 2 days from now, I think it's more important to stay in the habit of doing what I've said I'm going to do. And I've done it for 50 weeks now. I'm so close to the finish line. It's I'll be damned if I'm going to back off the gas now. So even though the last few weeks I've actually had that urge to not do it at all. Really interesting. My body must feel like we're getting towards the end somehow. But I think it's just more important to stay in the habit, which means I get to remain in integrity with the commitment that I made to do it. And our subconscious mind is taking note of all of these kinds of decisions. Every single time we have the opportunity to make a decision about, will we remain in integrity with something we said we're going to do, or are we going to be a half-asser? Oh my God, speaking of half-assing, I want to do an Instagram post on this because one of the reasons I just love working out as a metaphor for life is because it's that 1 hour that I spend in Pilates or in the gym or, doing something physical is an hour that I truly set aside to connect my brain to my body and show myself what I'm capable of doing, what is possible for me to do. Because I think that my thoughts and my emotions get most of my attention all day. And so I really think it's important to devote 1 hour a day to giving my body the full attention. And there's just these moments, and the reason I love Pilates right now, I'm having a major love affair with it, is because just by nature of the kinds of moves we do. And maybe it's the studio I'm going to. Studio is like amazing. No class is ever the same. I never quite know what I'm walking into, but I know that certain instructors are always going to hand my ass to me. And that is Lacey. Lacey, I know you're not listening to this, babe, but you challenge me in ways that I didn't know I could be challenged. And this last class I took with her was one of those moments. What was I talking? Oh, half-assing. Yeah. She had this insane flow on the reformer of piking and then jumping, suspending ourselves in air, then coming down into like crossing one leg over the other, and then like doing a tricep push-up, and then repeating that whole process again. And kicking our legs out to the side. It was just like beyond insane. And she said, before she told us like the flow of it, she said, right now, just tell your body that it can do this. Expect your body to know exactly how to handle these instructions. And I was like, oh my God, that's the best. Expect to be able to know how to handle these instructions. And then I sat back and I literally watched myself do it. It was crazy. But the point is, like, the lady next to me would never know if I was half-assing it. Lacey would not know if I was half-assing. Like, it's pretty easy to fake maximum effort. If you've ever faked an orgasm, it's the same family of acting and drama, right? We can just like, when I used to film my lifts for my coach, like on deadlifts, I'm not going to lie. Of course, we put a little more grunting and effort into things that are being filmed and watched. So like Lacey would not know if I were half-assing that. I could have done that. And I had to make another one of those choices in the moment. Am I going to show up and use this as an opportunity to honor my body and to show myself what I'm fucking capable of? And those are the kinds of moments, as is getting in my car to record this right now. Those are the kinds of moments that are gifts, the kinds of gifts that only you can give yourself. Nobody else could do this for me. Nobody else would care whether or not I did it. And yet I'm showing up and doing it. And yet I'm doing the full Pilates, karate chopping, ballet. I feel like I could have tried out for the New York Ballet after that. So, I felt like I gave myself a gift that only I could give myself. And it doesn't even compare to the best gift I've ever received from anyone else, because it's the kind of thing only you can do, which is freaking amazing. So I don't know how I got on this. I wasn't even planning to talk about that. And that just came out of me. The other kind of big decision, declaration, mindset, framework, lens that I've been using this last week that feels very powerful is I'm all about what increases a person's sense of personal power. That's kind of my gauge for whether a way of thinking or not is useful. Does this increase my belief in what I'm able to do? And so I noticed how much of my thoughts over the past year, since I've been making these episodes, has been hijacked by this belief that I can't do everything I want to do in life because I'm working full-time and I'm trying to run a business. Not trying to run a business, but I always say like, I'm trying to run a whole business here and I'm also working. It's like, it's so easy for me to think if I left the university, I could be doing all these other things. And where would I be now if that were true? And that could be true. That could be absolutely true. But it leaves me feeling like shit. It leaves me feeling crappy. It leaves me feeling frustrated. It leaves me feeling stuck, like I have some kind of problem to solve. And I just decided I am no longer going to I actually recorded a little memo to myself on this. I am no longer going to let a circumstance or a situation, this is something I tell my clients too, tell me how my life is going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and do all the things I think I don't have time to do. I'm going to go ahead and do them and demand that the universe, the creator, divine intelligence, the person who's in charge of making all things, they can handle. They can handle how it all fits. They can handle the schedule. They can create the space, or they will change my job situation or whatever. I'm just not going to let that tell me that I can't do that, because I'm proactively thinking, I can't do that because I'll be exhausted. I can't do that because I won't show up the way I want to show up at work anymore, or that will take away from my students, or I'll just end up getting run down and Mike will have the worst of me because he has to live with that. Whatever. I had a ton of those reasons, and I don't like feeling like that. So I've just kind of been living from this expectation lately that I get to do whatever it is I want to do. Even if that means I'm going to wake up at 4 instead of 5. I used to do that on the regular. So there's no big deal. I could go back to waking up at 4 to make sure that I get content created every day. Like, I am just feeling, who knows how long this situation will continue to be this way, but it's a lot easier to just shift into this feeling of power. Like, that's not my job to figure out how it all fits in my day. My job is to just commit to doing it and start doing it and let the rest of the things arrange itself. And that has always worked for me in the past. It has always worked for me in the past. When I was going through my physical transformation, I told myself, if I don't get my workout done, if I don't get my meals made, if I don't get all of those things done, my walking, my steps, I'm not, everyone else can wait. I will take a sick day off of work. I never ended up having to do it, but I made that kind of commitment. I just won't go to work that day if I don't get my workout done in the morning, or I'll go in after that. I'll just have to call out for the day. And whatever the consequences are the consequences of doing that. But I am fucking sticking to this. And wouldn't you know, that never actually had to happen. But that was my mentality dealing with all of it. So I'm kind of living from that same energy of, I'm done feeling like I have to trade off things in my life. And also, I'm probably just using that to tell myself a story about why it is the way it is. Things are going better than ever if I actually really look at things. Things are going better than ever. This has been an incredible year. I'm actually really looking forward to doing my wrap-up episode. Oh, and we had a great idea. Mike and I had a great idea. I think I'm going to bring him on for the final episode and ask him questions, because he's seen me through this whole last year. So I'm not going to tell him what the questions are in advance. So I've sure as shit talked about him enough. So why not give him his chance to appear on the podcast and put in his 2 cents about what growth he's seen in me, or what patterns he's seen me fighting, and what he sees for my future. That would be kind of fun, I thought. So that's my update for the week. I actually do feel energized now that I did this. I was kind of dragging before, and this has given me a little pep in my step. So thank you. Thank you for spending this time with me. And I hope you're all out there just living life and feeling all of the joy that each day brings you. And I'm sending you so much love and respect. And as always, go bet on yourself.